Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Xeno, the personification of a cry for help, and today we're here with Nepenthes. Now, this is actually one of the entries for the 2025 November Game Jam, and this was recommended to me by my good friend Reto Raven, who you may know is the creator of Route 19, Image 1697, and the album of Ransom Wilts, which we played last time. And I need to say something. Listen, I could have split it into two parts, the album of Ransom Wilts, I mean, but as it kept going, I thought I could have finished it in one go, but the way it kept going, and as I kept going, I kept thinking that means there's gonna be little of this visual novel to play for the next parts, so I might as well just write it out. But it just kept going, and now I have another 2 hour and 30 something minutes recording that I need to edit. Holy shit. You guys are gonna do a treat on Tuesday. Well, by the time this is uploaded, you guys already had the treats, so. Anyway, I looked this up. This is only like around 8,000 words, so it should not take me that long to play. I should be able to finish this up in just one go without spending 2 hours. Also, prior to recording this, I did look up how to pronounce Nepenthes, and I learned that it is a genus of carnivorous plants, which I assume this is the Nepenthes in question. Oh yeah, I need to say this to be completely transparent to y'all. I did record a little bit of this, but only like the very beginning. I did not get far at all. Not even close. But only because when I was recording this, my left monitor screen started glitching and turning green for no reason, and it kept doing that while I was recording, and right in the middle of it, my computer shut down and needed to restart, which, rude. So as of right now, that left monitor screen is turned off, and now I have both OBS applications on one screen, and I'm pretty sure I'm making it work. I'm making it work right now. Okay? It's still work fine. But maybe I can work with only just two monitors. That's about it. Also, there is no main theme music. No music's playing right now. Like, I have the desktop audio on like I usually do, and nothing is playing, which really adds to the mysterious creep factor for this game. I heard that this is psychological horror, and I have some questions since I played a little bit of it. Let's just see where this game takes us. So let's get started, shall we? Nepenthes. Ooh. Also, I got my water with me to hydrate. I mentioned this before in my Blue Sky, but I had my nephew over for the week after Christmas, and he was coughing quite a lot. And I'm pretty sure I caught what he got just because I've been coughing all day and my throat hasn't been the best. I hate being sick, it fucking sucks. It really is detrimental to my health, considering that what I aspire to do, I need my voice. Anyway, let's begin. It was the 10th year since Darlington Botanical Garden shut its doors. The disappearances started 3 days after. 13 have been tallied thus far, with 2 more currently under investigation. Shoe print trails, vehicles embedded in the lot, and the presence of shed hair in the vicinity all, vertibly, let us search the abandoned facility. And without fail, the cases ran cold the moment one entered the decaying vestibule. Also, when I read that the last time, this is actually the stopping point where my computer crashed. When I was reading that, I just had a theory that since Nepenthes are carnivorous plants and people are disappearing in this botanical garden, I have a feeling that these plants are sentient and they started eating people. That's my takeaway. And that's like really early on. This is like really early on, so I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, let's continue. The Bureau of Investigation wasted months expecting every nook, niche, or recess they could find. The answer remained the same. No tracks, no fur, no bodies. Only Darlington's vacant husk. It was as if they all been spirited off. The inconsistency in the missing demographics only served to aggravate the investigators' vexations, including those of yours truly. Elaine Salisbury, snow leopard of 83 years, widow, highly reclusive. It took days before her neighbors noticed she had vanished from her abode. John W. Westall, mountain goat of 35, made a fortune on hoof care products. He told his housekeeper that he would be taking a Sunday drive along the countryside. His empty car was found abandoned on the roadside, not 50 meters from the conservatory's parking lot. Fortunately, it had little effect on their lacquer stalks. Nothing quite compares to that signature satin finish. And most recently, a 7-year-old beagle by the name of Charlotte, orphaned at a young age due to behavioral issues, which made finding a suitable foster home difficult. She absconded from the agency one evening, leaving but a loose thread of her nightwear on a nearby shrub. Amid all the possible relations between these impossibly disparate individuals, I could only deduce one commonality. The plants ate them. Again, I find myself lost in thought. My investigation was to be expeditious, a cursory glance at the hallowed galleries and chambers. More formality to keep the puppet's discord at a manageable level. Still, I could not help but ponder the possibilities. By all rights, I should not expect to find anything novel. And yet... I suppose even I am vulnerable to the occasional bout of irrationality. I quelled the gushing of questions and possibilities welling in my mind, and made my approach towards Darlington. "Hello, dear!" The girders moaned as I drew near. My gaze fell upon the framework of Darlington. The building should be naught but debris after the decades since its closure. And yet it insists to remain as tall as the day it was built. The doors have been worn away, leaving only a black maw where its patrons once entered. I don't like that sound. Oh, it's a walkie-talkie. Got you. What a bother. I sighed, produced the radio, and held it close to my muzzle. Who's on the other end? Yes, I am just before the entranceway. Nothing thus far. Excuse me? Chief, he is not necessary for this operation, I assure you. Are you implying I am unable to handle this professionally? Besides, he should be at my place packing his belongings. Do what you must with him. It does not matter to me. Besides, I must be going. I do not think I'll be able to get a signal once I am inside. Understood, sir. Always such a pain. I wish for the merciful burn of a poet's spirit and forget about this whole mess. I shoved the radio into my breast pocket and took a step towards the entrance. It was then I noticed a tightness in my throat, as though I had swallowed a coarse stone. My attention drifted to the rattliness of my breath, the audible thump, thump, thump of an uneasy heart. Let this pass, I repeated in my mind. This will pass. What on earth could have me so discomposed? Something in the deep recesses of my mind urged me to flee. A primitive instinct I quelled before ambling to the entranceway. I peered through the vestible's lonesome gloom. Spying a nearby shard of tile, I took it and stepped the fragment low to the ground. It hit the far end without any issue. The path was clear. I could continue with confidence. I had progressed roughly midway through the vestibule when my skin tingled and fur raised to pointed ends. My nostrils had caught wind of something, faintly warm, carrying with it a sweet, earthy note. Ambergris? No, there was a vegetal characteristic to it. As I closed in on the far door, that aroma grew in intensely until I could even detect its flavor. It brought to mind leaf litter and fresh blossoms, as though the spirit of Darlington persisted after all these decades. A heady fragrance that brought something to my attention. Are you hungry, dude? Well, do you know who else is hungry? The fucking plants that ate all those people, which I know is what happened. You can't just have a name like Nepenthes and have it be a genus of carnivorous plants, plus mix it with the disappearances of these many people who were nearby this botanical garden, and not be suspicious. Am I hungry? No, that cannot be. I had dinner not a few hours ago. Yet there is still a trace of craving. I figured a stretch of my belly. Nothing. Perhaps that kill was not agreeing with me. I cannot concern myself with this now. Pushing my attention elsewhere, I placed my hooves on the metal, and the door creaked. With wine and metal and the grinding of rusted hinges, the door thrust open. Oh? My God. Did I hit my head? Or have I finally gone mad? Gusts of temperate country air came spilling from behind me, only to be subsumed by the rank tropical humidity. A lowland rainforest, or at least a simulacrum of such? Sumatra? Or perhaps Borneo? Yes, it must be Borneo. Darlington's original rainforest gallery was designed to showcase its unparalleled biodiversity. One hoof still on the door, I peered back at the dark room from whence I came, and I stepped forward. I produced the radio from my breast pocket, dialed the frequency, and waited. Just as expected, merely on the cusp of coherent connection. I turned my attention to the ceiling, where light filtered from the latticework glass, too bright to see anything other than its blinding glow. The trees which towered around me must have extended over 50 meters at height, and yet they came nowhere close to grazing the top. I scanned the boughs of the trees, all covered with a vein-like swirl of epiphytes, delicate orchids, and foliage even I had difficulty recognizing. Borneo always did captivate me, a paradise for flora and fauna of the most splendid quality. By some miracle, Father even allowed me to purchase a book on plants native to the region when I was but a calophan. Oh, I would spend hours beguiled by those photographs and illustrations during the long weeks while he was away. The tropical pitcher plants especially, beautiful in appearance, yet a fatal trap to insects enticed by their lures. Halcyon days long gone, quixotic ideas I quickly grew out of. Yet, even in my adult age, the allure of Borneo still whispered in my ears on occasion. Perhaps I should have. No, contain yourself. The nature of this anomaly should be the utmost concern. Doubtful any current scientific method could begin to describe how this place came to be. A new realm had materialized in the carcass of Darlington. Its gardens flourished once more. Pushing onwards, my eyes traced the foliage and earth for any signs of disturbance. Perhaps a trail left behind by a previous visitor. To my distress, the more I wandered, the more it became apparent that there was no end wall, at least within a reasonable distance for a building of this scale. I turned to see a still open doorway, a mitted square black amidst the growth. Should I not keep that door within eyesight, I may very well find myself lost in the thicket. Another few paces forward, and something peculiar caught my eye. Who? It's a Nepenthes. That's just gonna eat you alive. There, right in the clearing, not a few meters from me. Pictures characteristic of the Nepenthes genus, bearing those unmistakable thorns protruding from beneath the lid. I allowed myself a spark of excitement for the occasion. Before me stood Nepenthes biculturata, the faint pitcher plant, and a vigorous specimen at that. I approached one of its more robust traps and took a glance into its maw. Nothing occurred to discern from this angle. The depths were obscured by the shade of a tree overhead. I took a whiff. That thing's gonna eat your fucking head, dude. A shock of agony pierced my brain as though my hippocampus had burst. I clenched my skull and screamed. Something stirred within the depths of my cerebrum like a parasite. It wanted the plants. The pitcher beckoned it forward with its hypnotic fragrance. Feelings, sensations, even memories stirred at the fringes of my throbbing mind. They arrived their way to the surface, biting at the folds of my meninges. God, it's like someone drove an ice pick into my socket. A flash of memory, mere moments ago when I first beheld the plants. Deeper still, the smell of my apartment when I returned home last night. No, none of this was satisfactory. The plants wanted more. Would it gorge itself on my mind till it was simple? Just then the plant found something, though I did not know what. It needed to coax it out. The pain and aroma grew stronger. I fell to my knees. It only had a moment to recognize it. It was so simple, it barely registered as a memory. Just a single core feeling. one I had never, ever been without. I was hungry. How hungry? So what happened? Did you just pass out? Oh, you just passed out. Okay. My eyes pried open to the blinding white of the ceiling. God, my head hurts. Had I been intact? I scanned my body for injuries and, fortunately, came up blank. What precisely can I recall? Right, the plants and then the pain. It drew something out of me, lured it in, and devoured it whole. I must leave, now. Also, how's my voice in this video, y'all? I mentioned earlier that I was not feeling good and my throat felt a little sore. I've been coughing. I feel like my voice has been, like, really deep this entire reading. I don't know. In my head, it doesn't sound good, so I don't know how it sounds on camera or audio. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. In a frantic sprint, I traced my path back to the entranceway. But when it finally came into view... Fuck, dude, you're screwed! I knew the plants were gonna eat you! I assailed the bramble with a flurry of strikes and blows, and only when the blood streamed from my knuckles did I desist. The trees depressed and the whole of the jungle grew to an eerie still, as though Darlington had exhaled. I was caught in the beast's mouth, and could be but moments from being swallowed alive. Damn it all! My rationale must not be blunted by such fanciful ideas. Whatever force was at play must want me alive. For now, at least. Yes, my incarnation must have a deeper reasoning, though I cannot begin to describe it. The plants. Yes! What was the plant trying to do? Wayfarer, dearest. O wayfarer. A murmur, soft as the breeze and so faint one might have mistaken it for their own imagination. It repeated in soft chimes which grew only but a mite louder as it approached. There! Descended from the treetops came a fluttering pair of wings. Who is this? Not a fucking moth. Oh, it's a butterfly. Yeah, I'm a butterfly. You've just never seen my energy. I'm already high, floating on a blue... Fuck. I messed up the word. I'm sorry. I welcome you, dear. Come from the barren and into halidom. It muttered in a sing-song tone. Wait, it's on strings. What the fuck is this? What are you? A butterfly, dear. Is it not obvious? The insect spoke as though it were half caught in a fanciful dream. I held my tongue and considered my next choice of words. Experience and education failed to prepare me for conversation with a butterfly of all things. No body language from which to derive equivocation or discomfort. I was loath to engage in conversation with a denizen of this garden. However, if I was to discern an escape route, then I had to garner what I could from the insect. It appeared cordial enough to greet me. Playing along was perhaps my best option. How do I leave? I spoke flatly. Ah, so direct, so direct. Answer me. An escape exists, though you'll not find it here. Then where? Rush not, wayfarer, rush not. There's much I wish to ask you myself. This thing refused to budge unless I played along. Very well. I nodded and allowed it to continue. Well, I believe introductions are in order, yes. Is it not custom when one first meets another? Have you no respect? Westall. John Westall. I am merely visitor and I wish to return home. Oh wait, that was the name of one of the people who disappeared. Oh, clever. But does that mean that the butterfly knows that same person and that same name? And that knows that you're tricking it? The butterfly's wings flittered and it rained with a sharp-off tone. Don't get fresh with me now. You'll find I'm not so easily duped. Blasted, it saw right through. See, I told you. Has it been observing me all this time? Or was there a tell in my reflection? Oh, I suppose your caution is warranted. But if I'm to help you, I'll need your cooperation. I hesitated. There must be an alternative. No, the insect is perceptive. I suppose I'll have to entertain this notion. I apologize. While I am not willing to reveal my name, I can reveal my reason for being here. There has been a string of disappearances traced to this very conservatory. Are you a detective, then? In a manner of speaking. I now have reason to believe that the victims are trapped here in Darlington. Bitch, they were eaten alive. Victim is not quite the word I'd use, dear. Then where are they? Why have they not returned? It was their choice to stay. They're tenants of Darlington. Their choice? But why? Its wings rained with a sound that brought to mind a chuckle. They were hungry, and no morsel of scrap from that waste could ever fill their empty bellies. Struck a chord, have I? You're starving too, you must be. What do you want? Worry now, wayfarer. Should you decide the gardens aren't to your fancy, then you may go. But I guarantee you'll find a respite from your famine deep in the bogs of Darlington. A relief like no other. I wish to leave. I am not interested. And yet the bramble remains. Pardon? The butterfly's antenna twitched. Must I spell it out for your gumshoe? I thought that was your job. Think, when did the bramble first appear? When I awoke after my encounter with the Nepenthes. When I realized... ... And there you have it. And thus the bramble will stay and your path remains closed. The butterfly's chimes trialed. Nepenthes, you call it? What a queer name. Most refer to them simply as pitcher plants. A simple interest of mine, nothing more. Is there something wrong with that? The butterfly wavered around. I cannot rightly tell, but it seemed as if it were contemplating something. However, it quickly resumed its usual flight pattern. No, nothing. Then what did it do to me? You're the expert, gumshoe. I shot the insect a dark glare. It lured something out of me, ate it, digested it. Something of me had been consumed and then turned into the structure of the plant itself. Or perhaps the conservatory in its entirety? I suppose we have business, yes? Right. This is how it'll work. I will ask one question. You must consider it. Look inwards and look deep. Once you've found something, the bramble will part ways, and the door will be free once again. Though it will not lead to the vestibule. No, you will find another room lying in wait for you. From there, you'll find the box at the very end of that room. And with it, answers. I clenched my hooves and regarded the insect with a venomous glare. I am afforded no agency in this, am I? No choice but to abide by its ridiculous request. The bramble, though, I know it will never part. There was no logic or reason behind this belief. Pure primitive emotion. It only felt right. I drew a deep inhale, holding the breath for as long as my lungs would allow, then exhaled into the steamy air. Ask. The insect jawed close to my gaze, close enough to see the delicate scintilla of the wind sails. And, in a hushed tone, it whispered, What are you hungry for? My mind ran blank. The butterfly was correct, I am starving. Even now, I can feel the bite of my stomach's hunger. I thought back to the agony of the Nepenthes and dug deep to recollect what I could. Images, sensations, sounds, smells. Laying in bed as the afternoon sun rolled across my face. The scent of coffee during a late shift in the office. And the view from my apartment's window on a crisp, starry night, where I looked from afar at all the people below. In each I am hungry. More than that, I was wasting away. But why? I do not know. The butterfly chimed, and behind me came the rasp of tendrils scraping metal. That is sufficient. You may go. Was it that simple? For our purposes, dear, yes. Though you've only just begun, best not get complacent, dear. I stepped forward, placed my hooves on the bar, and turned towards the insect. Will you join me? Another chime. The butterfly's wings fluttered in what I assumed to be amusement. Oh, now the wayfarer concerns himself with my company. I would rather not go alone. The butterfly's antennas twitched. Oh, worry not, worry not. Darlington connects us in so many splendid ways. You need only let it in. That is the greatest kindness you can do for yourself, dear. I stifled a sigh. These mirthful statements were beginning to take their toll on me. I pushed the bar forward and took my first steps inwards. Oh shit, you fell through? Before I could even react, my body was sent tumbling down through the door. In the moment, just as the light of the jungle vanished, I could swear the butterfly was fluttering at the door's edge, watching, studying, with the chimes of satisfaction echoing through the dark. Damn, that's gotta suck. I broke my fall against a sponge-like material that undulated in the waves before settling to a flat surface once more. Nothing was broken. The radio was still intact. Oh, I just noticed his hands. Oh shit. I scanned my bearings. The whole of this new chamber was but a single elongated hallway, stretching imperceptibly far in both directions. The oppressive muddiness of the rainforest had attenuated into a crisp, aquatic vapor. Through the length of the halls came a cool draft which caressed my fur, filled my lungs with rich moisture. My attention turned, finally, to a plant beneath my hooves, a lily pad, and a prodigious one at that. I have heard rumors that water lilies in the genus Victoria were capable of holding an entire person's weight upon their leaves. From the width and durability of this one specimen, I would wager it could accommodate a whole group with little effort. Although my sojourn to this bog the butterfly spoke of had only begun, I suppose there could be worse environments to traverse. I brushed a hoof across the surface of the chilled water. To my surprise, not a strand of algae or cloud of slit stirred from my disturbance. Water so pristine and still, it made measuring its depth nigh impossible. Not that I had any interest in finding out for sure. The butterfly's words still perturbed me. The victims had chosen to stay here? And all 13 of them in past several decades? Not one decided otherwise? Were they controlled? Or perhaps the butterfly had been economical with its choice of words? Possibilities swirled among greater possibilities, which only further deepened my frustrations. Furthermore, I must be watchful for plants. The lily pads seemed innocuous, as did many of the flora in the lowlands. Only the bramble and the nepenthes displayed any degree of hostility. Victoria amazonica does possess a thorny underside to deter herbivores, though thus far it has yet to react. I can only form loose theories. Are the carnivorous plants the ones I should be cautious of? If this place serves to, as the butterfly claims, help me, then why have these hostile plants in the first place? But if it truly meant harm, why go through all these theatrics? Furthermore, it said we were all connected? In what way? Again I am becoming lost in but conjecture. I must refocus my efforts on continuing from here. Now, how do I get this plant to move? The water lily stem dangled down into the depths of the waters towards a basil shoot. Given the water's clarity, it could either be 3 or 30 meters away, and I would rather not dive in to find out. But from here I can see the dance of glinting colors swirling around the shoot. Koi! Innumerable koi, of reds, golds, platinums, oranges, and more came swirling in the scintilla towards me. Upon greater inspection, they all seemed to follow the trail of a single, large fish, which appeared twice the length of the rest. They danced through the water column, as if to flaunt the filigree of their scales. The leader took a downwards dive, twirled, and rose to meet me at the edge of the water lily. Oh? I'm talking to a koi fish now? Good evening, sir. It burbled in a carefree inflection. I blinked, unsure of how to respond. The koi's caudal fin flicked with amusement. I see you are still getting a grasp on things. I am not used to talking with fish. I would assume not many would be, where you come from. No. I glanced towards the lily beneath my hooves and back to the fish. We're taking care of it right now, I assure you. The koi drifted lazily around the arc length of the pad. Below, the stool chewed vigorously on the chute's base until the stem snapped in twain. They reconvened back towards the surface, moving in a clockwise direction counter to that of their leader. Now, forward or back, my friend? The fish spread its pectoral fins wide as if to point in both directions. I stared at the length of the two hulls once again. Nothing differentiated one from the other. Does it make a difference? It is your choice. That is what makes the difference. Was this another test of my desires? Or was it far more simple? If reason and logic failed me before, then for once I would decide by intuition. And my instinct told me. Forward. With a swish of its tail, the large koi conducted the small towards the end of the lily pad behind me. The plant jostled, and bow waves fanned from behind while the large koi swam in spirals, glinting like a polished pearl. I kneeled and wiped a splatter of mud from my coat. Long day, friend. I regarded the fish blankly. Yes? Perhaps a dip in the water will do you some good. All that mud is going to sully those lovely looking hooves of yours. I am fine. The koi acknowledged my response with a flick of the caudal fin, though said nothing more. Small talk. Is there anything I could ask about that I do not already know? Say. I started. The koi slowed its advance so as to swim in pace with me. Will I be alright? That is a bit of a broad question, friends. If you mean by the end of this, then yes, you should be right as rain. But what is at the end? If I'm being honest, I do not rightly know myself. Explain? Friend, there is little else to explain. Then how does the butterfly know but not you? The butterfly is meant to greet and inform you. That is its purpose. My purpose is merely to guide you down the stream. What happens in that bog is of no concern of mine. I shuddered at the thought. Hey, ease up, friend. How can I? My chest ballooned with the influence of frustration, bringing my teeth to a tight gnash. Pardon my disrespect, but I do not trust you nor this entire damn place. You respond with vagueness when my life may very well be in jeopardy. Stay your emotion. You are revealing too much. I swallowed and quelled my frustrations back to a low simmer. The koi, meanwhile, turned on its side so as to look at me with on its eyes. In truth, friends, I am frustrated with my lot as well. I am afforded only what the conservatory allows me. I guide. It is as simple as that. The koi spun back around so its dorsal fin quavered like a flag against a breeze. I wish I could ease your anxiety, I do. And I'm aware that nothing I say will make you let your guard down. In fact, it is wise of you to do so. We are alien. We are contradictions to your way of thinking. If it will put your mind at ease, I can submerge myself and remain silent until you arrive. Stay, I have more I wish to know. The koi returned that jet-black gaze. If you say so, friend. I still do not understand the purpose of the Nepenthes. Ah, the pitcher plants? You know of them? Lily writers will often speak about their encounters with the rainforest pitcher plants. Not positively, mind you. I can imagine. Are you well familiar with them? Only a trivial interest, nothing more. My friend, your interests are anything but trivial. To be an interesting person, one must have interests. Insofar as satisfying some mild curiosity when I was a fawn, I suppose. Fascinating things these plants are, though their adaptations make them inefficient competitors. They can only exist in environments inimical to normal foliage. Nutrient poor and acidic soil tends to be preferred. And that is where their diet comes in, a way to make up for that deficit in nutrition. Whether it be a bog or a jungle, that lack of substance drives them to such radical extremes. My apologies. I find myself lost in the wonder on occasion. A habit from my youth I have learned to tamper down on. Seems you still carry them with you, though. Hard not to when they were what engrossed you so thoroughly as a youth. Whenever I had a rare break from studying, I would pore over the pages of textbooks and herbarium records. Was that all? What else would I be doing? Pardon me, but do you have friends? I paused and looked askance. Yes, obviously I have my coworkers. There was the receptionist who greets me every morning I entered the office. My advisor, yes. I believe we have drinks one time. Oh, and my Your partner? Your boyfriend? My subordinates I have had cordial relations with. My tongue tapped the roof of my mouth as I pondered. Is it a poly relationship? Or is it just a bunch of people you fuck? I suppose my father when he was still around. The coy's swimming pattern shifted. Its eyes now betraying a sense of pity. And you? I suppose you are never quite alone, are you? In Darlington, one is never alone, friend. We are all connected. The koi replied in a reassuring tone. And if it matters much, I would hope you consider me a friend. Well, as close to a friend as I could possibly be in this short time span. I blinked and felt the stretch in my belly once more. Something had shifted. Something new. The hunger he was looking for was companionship. That's it! That's it! That's why nothing ever satisfied him. He didn't know what he was craving. He's hungry for companionship, for a true, genuine friendship. That's what it is. My chest swelled with a burst of feeling. One foreign, but not unwelcome. No, it was more than welcome. I needed more of it. But the spark had died and my hunger returned once more. Is something the matter, friends? Nothing. Nothing. The koi had been watching me all this time, careful never to take its eye off me throughout the whole ride. If it is perceptive, it may have caught my lapse in composure. It may know. But I wanted to know, as insipid as that sounds. I want someone, anyone, to know about the emptiness in my belly. The butterfly said much the same. How Darlington is all connected. Is it all a network, is it not? Just a network of rooms and paths and some dazzling koi fish, eh? How I interpret it at least may require a lengthy example. You see, there was a study conducted on Douglas fir trees. In it, they assert that the trees are connected by a network of fungi, which function similarly to the neural pathways of the brain. And through this, they would share information. Should one tree be harmed by insects, it would send chemical warnings to other pines, which would produce stronger defensive enzymes. In fact, they would even share nutrients in times of crisis. Oh, really? Fascinating. It may come as a shock, but trees are not commonplace down here. I had thought them only a bunch of gnarled roots, wood, and leaves. You would think at first, yes? But it turns out they have much more complex relationships than previously thought. And at the center of that network is what is known as the hub tree, the most connected node in the system. Hundreds could be connected to just one. But I believe I am joining on. I am simply trying to make sense of this whole place, I suppose. Perhaps rest is in order. You've been through quite a lot already, yes? Yes, perhaps that would be prudence. How much further does this hallway go? Not to worry. When you awake, you will have arrived. Are you sure? Friend, I have traversed these waters for decades. I am certain. I was aware that resting would leave me vulnerable. What if that had been the plan from the start? To lull me into this false sense of security. Focus! You're grown soft, and for what? Only a moment. Keep one eye open and remain vigilant at all costs. Just a moment of rest. My eyes grew heavy. See you soon, friend. Aw, that's adorable. 12 years ago on the 1st of December, I had decided to take a walk through campus just after a fresh snow. Dissertations were due in a week, and I would rather not be subject to another frantic mock defense from my colleagues. The bitter cold had brought the crooked fingers of icicles down the eaves of the library, which overlooked the grand stretch of fields. It was there that I found a bench to take my seat in and unwind during my scant few moments of free time. I peered across the field and noticed two figures wandering through its middle. One was a bear, a peer of mine, though to call him a peer felt incorrect. He was a burnout with little passion and little prospects. I rarely paid him much heed. But his partner, a scrawny fennec, now that was intriguing. That fox was certainly very bright. I would even consult with him on occasion. What was he doing associating himself with that bear? I watched carefully as the two made their way across the stretch of field. They drew close enough that I could read the expression of the fox's face. His cheeks were flushed with a red glow, and both eyes transfixed on that of his partner. He was happy. Deeply happy. Almost to the point that it seemed as though he would collapse at any moment had the bear not been supporting him in his large arms. They bantered. Nothing particularly important, from what I could recollect. The fox traced the tip of his snout towards the bear's ears and whispered something. "I love you," I read. The bear's cheeks went flushed, and he delivered a kiss on the fox's snout. The fox smiled and buried himself deeper into the bear's arms. It stirred something in me, something I had not felt since November by Keith Ballard. It was as though a candle had been lit in my belly, filling it with a radiating warmth. I could not help but stare in fascination, the looks on their faces plastering my mind. It was a kind of bliss I could not describe, one of deep intimacy. Together. I remember returning to that field several times, in hopes of seeing them again. Every so often, they would walk the round of the field, bantering, laughing, or simply standing in silence beneath the sky's gray curtain. Whenever the fox pet the bear's cheek with a kiss, my own face would tingle. When the bear's smile grew wide, so too did I feel my muscles tug at the corner of my mouth. Never before had I felt so full. Graduation came soon, and with it, the parting of ways between peers. I was showered with accolades and praise, and was even prompted to deliver a speech at the ceremony. I spent the entire length of it searching the crowd for those two. Nothing. Once the festivities came to a close, I chanced upon the fox and bear once more in the very same field they frequented. The tone, however, was evidently different. I could see the glint of tears and detect the quivering of weak voices. My stomach dropped as they gave each other one final hug. This one, doubtless, the last they would ever share. Later that night, I lay on the living room couch in the empty of Father's house. He was absent, of course, spending another week or so in Sweden to finish up on business. I stared, and stared. I patted my belly, hollow as a drum. Had it always been this way? Had I always been this hungry? I had to find him. A few months later, I happened upon the bear once again. With some finesse, I managed to get ourselves into a bar for a conversation. He droned about his life, his career, and even asked me about my own aspirations. I thought little of the question then, and merely replied with an empty platitude. With several bottles of gin in paw, the two of us took to a cheap motel room and drank our fill. It did not take much coaxing before clothes came flying off, and we were tangled in each other's arms, naked. I held him, just as the bear held the fox, close and warm in the comfort of his fur. But when I opened my eyes, all I saw was a tipsy, blank expression spread across the bear's face. Blank. Nothing. No glow in his face, no passion behind the eyes. I whispered the very same words the fox did, only for the bear to return an uncomfortable chuckle. He looked askance, betraying discomfort in the fidgeting of his paws. And what's more, that spark remained dormant. I forced my lips against his cheek, hoping to rekindle it. Nothing. The bear merely pulled away. He excused himself shortly thereafter and left. I never saw him again. In the dark of that motel room, I lay sprawled on the bed, staring listlessly at the ceiling. My hooves traced a straight across my belly where I could feel its hollow, the bites of hunger at the walls of my stomach. It did not work. Why did it not work? I paced the room for what must have been hours, the hole in my guts only growing more evident with each minute that scraped by. It came to the point where I seized what remained of our gin and guzzled it dry. It burns. Oh, it burned like hellfire. But at least I knew something to be in there. I kept drinking until my belly had swelled into a sloshing balloon, and yet it remained bereft. The pain brought me to my knees, and, with a curdled belch, I sprayed the walls, floor, and my own body with that glistening slurry. With burning innards, I collapsed in that reeking puddle and wept. I had to find another. Dude, just find something naturally. I stirred on the brink of wakefulness as a creeping chill of moisture spread across my back. It was enough to awaken me in an instant. I rose with blurred vision. Mitch blotches of green and gray swirled as I came to. What on earth? Dude, you're getting worse. Actually, no. What is that on you? I took a step forward, and my hoofs sank into a thick slurry of peat and mud. My eyes finally adjusted to the point where I could trace the contours of those vague green shapes. Tall, tubular leaves radiating from a central point, each capped with frilled hoods and gaping mouths. Sarracenia, the North American pitcher plant. I had been confined to a tight circle, surrounded by the infinitude of Sarracenia, stretching far into the embankment of mist. And not just Sarracenia. Lower down sprouted cobra lilies and glistening sundews, the open maws of flytraps and obovate leaves of sticky butterworts. Their saccharine aroma tickled at my nostrils, which I have already clenched tightly shut. There must be a dance and hide among the muck. There has to be. Hello? I yelled into the empty fog. Is anyone here? My ears perked at the sound of movement just to my right. There, on a rock, something had emerged. With overwhelming relief, I pushed through the sphagnum and mud towards the creature. Hello. Thank God, I feared nothing would answer. Yes, who are you? The snail spoke in a slow, diffident cadence. Any slight movement I made caused its eyes to instinctively pulse back. What do? I am at the end, right? Where's the exit? The snail simply stared. Well, what is it? Is it a test? Why aren't you questioning the fact that the snail is currently crying blood and kind of leaking blood? The snail backed away into its shell. You're scary! Go away! Go away! I have had enough! Tell me! Tell me how to leave or I'll stand a rock with your entrails! I don't know! Leave me alone! The snail shivered, its voice akin to that of a terrified child. A child? I swallowed and allowed the maelstrom of my rage to simmer. I am sorry. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? The snail's eye sockets returned a blank stare. How long have you been here? I do not know. I only remember this book. It is all I know. Do you know anything else about this place? I think so. It comes and goes, but I don't understand why I know what I do. Explain. I know there are different galleries, but I can't reach them. I know there are others like me, but I can't talk to them. But they're here. I feel connected. Lastly, do you have a name I can call you? Any name at all, one you might be fond of. The snail sat in silence for several beats before responding. Any? At all? I think I... Yes? The snail receded into its shell. If I had one, then I have no memory. No. Is this the answer that was promised, then? I strained to believe otherwise, but I could not deny the evidence displayed so plainly. The snail's tentacles returned to their full length, and its button eyes gleamed with curiosity. I don't know. Then I suppose this may be the end for me. I suppose then I must make my peace. If you wish, we can speak, sir. I would very much like company. It would make it easier, yes. You speak quite well for someone who's never had company. I don't understand it much myself, call it... Instinct? The snail's tentacles wriggled in affirmation. I suppose if this is nosy, but you were talking in your sleep. It sounded like you were having a bad dream? Oh, that. The details are perhaps a bit much if I am to be frank. But it is a memory I hold quite strongly. Perhaps Too strongly.
Yes?
I just remember seeing two people who loved each other dearly. A bear and his partner. And then it all ended one day. It is rather simple, really. A bit ridiculous to hold such a memory for this long.
No! If it's important to you, then that's all that matters.
It was only a reminder. One best left in the past.
How so?
Are you familiar with the term better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all?
I don't think so.
It is a fairly self explanatory line, anyways.
So you wish you were hurt?
As inane as it sounds, yes. I suppose a heartbreak like the one I witnessed is commonplace, a simple fact of life. Many of my colleagues lived so distraught when they would lose loved ones. It is a deep mortal agony I cannot begin to comprehend. It seems as though something had been carved from them, a piece of themselves that the other provided. I wonder what that heartbreak must feel like, how deeply it must afflict someone. I wonder if the bear still carries its former love somehow. I have no idea to what extent their affection ran, but it must have been something significant.
Something that cannot so easily be erased. Well, I think the fox is part of him still. The bear let him in, they shared each other, and they separated. Doesn't mean the fox hadn't affected him still. Parts of him are still in that bear and affected him, even if he doesn't understand.
I nodded and brushed the scruff of my chin. Did not expect such wisdom from a snail. Insightful little thing, aren't you? In the end, I guess we all lose each other one way or another, as grim as it sounds. I wish I had someone to lose. I wish someone had something to lose in me.
There can still be hope, sir. You still have time.
I suppose you are correct. You have been with me all this time, have you not?
I guess. I mean, I still don't know you well, but...
No, you've known me since I first entered, right? Are you the butterfly?
Excuse me?
Aren't you all connected? Isn't this whole place connected?
Well, in a way, I suppose. But that doesn't mean I would know you.
You know my dream, snail. How could you not know me in and out?
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what you mean.
Then how did you know the bear's partner was a fox? Cloth that tea! He didn't mention their species. Damn. ... bitch. The snail's body stiffened. Its glossy eyes scanned the whole of my body with a machine-like diligence.
I suppose I did grow complacent.
The snail smoked in a much different cadence than before.
It is all to save you, friend.
Oh! Did he kill us? All connected. Everything I have ever thought has now been interred in the bones of Darlington. It knows me more intimately than any have before. Is Darlington reading my thoughts at this very moment? How deep does it go? Impossible, the radio? I wrenched the device from my breast pocket and held it aloft. A signal, but a trace of signal. I squeezed the button and, to my joy, a voice came through, garbled but comprehensible. Yes, Chief, this is investigator. Chief? Sir, can you hear me? Silence. Nothing I had said seemed to be getting through. The chief spoke to someone in the background with an annoyed inflection. No, this is not a prank call. Damn. Damn it! I locked the device in a fit of anger and it vanished into the fog. I sat in the eerie silence of the bog, staring blankly ahead as though something, anything, would appear from the veil. But I saw nothing. The bog was so silent one could hear the plants grow. How long had I been trapped in this place? How long had it been eating away at me? Was there anything left of me that had not been processed? Was it even possible for me to leave? Or was I now irrevocably a part of Darlington? Time passed. Maybe an hour. Maybe several. Maybe even a day. And yet nothing. A part of me regretted killing that snail. Oh, you killed it? At least then I had someone to talk to. I take a brazen liar than this pervading emptiness. Speak to me! I yelled aloud. Speak to me! My voice echoed across the vastness of the bog. I trudged through the emptiness of the swamp, towards the wall of carnivorous plants, and pushed through. Their saccharine aroma invaded my nostrils, but there was nothing to attract, nothing more there to absorb. My stomach roared, the emptiness now an indescribable agony. Ah! I fell to my knees, arms clutched over my belly. It is hollow. Oh God, is it hollow? Nothing is in there. There is nothing inside me. It hurts. God, does it hurt? Someone, please, save me, please! To my right, the plants rattled. It was gone by the time I looked. I could feel its presence, massive and unknowable beyond compare. A power hitherto unseen before in by any outside mortal. It was waiting beyond the veil. It was expecting me. I took a step forward. Oh? What the fuck are you? Is that a snake?
Do not fear, friend.
The rumble of the beast's voice could be felt rattling in the hollow of my bones.
I am here to save you.
It sang in a chorus of voices, all bound together by one single will. A will whose intelligence and age far exceeded my own. Not in all the cathedrals nor temples of the world stood something of such divine splendor. I kneeled with eyes affixed to the lambent glow of its gaze. What are you?
It matters little. What matters is you. You are a starving man, strong in mind and body, yet so dearly unfulfilled. And from those wastes, you happened upon Halidom.
Halidom? You deign to call this Halidom? You incarcerated me in this tomb. You tortured my mind and feigned sincerity with your army of puppets.
They are not puppets. They are equals. All a gossamer thread in the design. Just as am I.
Liar. Why should I place my faith in you, Snake?
I merely engendered your actualization through the most effective means available.
And that is supposed to make me trust you?
You are skeptic by nature. It is your trade, after all. I would likewise be loath to accept my offer should I be in your shoes. The masquerade was a means to an end, a method by which to impart my gift.
I want nothing to do with it. I want to leave. The beast groaned, sending ripples through the meadow of pitchers.
And thus you prove why I must take such measures in the first place. The method is often unsavory, a surgeon's needle or the bitter bite of a drought. I keep you from harming yourself further, to see the cure I offer.
Mercy with no choice is no mercy at all.
Ah, but you have a choice. One I find to be so banal, yet so often needed for one to be persuaded. You may reject my offer and return to the waste. That much I would promise you.
It must be true. I had no choice but to believe otherwise. This cannot be an elaborate ruse anymore. No. Why else would it push me to such a degree? The serpent went quiet and lowered his head, the heat of his body radiating like a smoldering star.
Oh, you hungry men, toiling with a belly empty and no concept of reprieve. You see what could be, yet cannot find a way to manufacture it yourself.
I am free to do so. I do not need a being like you to sate me.
I speak no dishonesty. It would be easier if you were much the same.
I mean it. This is not... Whatever you offer cannot be the answer. I just need an opportunity. Someone who is right. I can save myself.
If that is what you wish to believe, then so be it. Then, if you have no interest, you may go. Walk the mists, walk straight and look only forward. Within but a few paces, the door to the wasteland will be laid open for you once before. Tarleton will forever be a memory, and your joy will be a matter of your choosing.
I would see it backward, glancing at the far mist behind me. It could all be over. This nightmare could only end if I just walked forward. I can return home and forget all this ever happens. But
I will allow you all the time in the world to decide. Whatever you wish, I will provide, Ben.
oh, I am so hungry. Beads of tears rolled across the arch of my cheeks and into the vile muck. That cannot be living. I cannot be living like this.
And you need not to.
Does it ever stop? Was there any possibility I could feel that hollow within?
Perhaps. Or perhaps it is far too late.
Too late. I am but grown. If I had a chance, it would have appeared before me by now.
I knew you to be sagacious.
What do you offer?
Us.
Together?
Yes.
I just want
someone to embrace.
I nodded. I nearly jolted when I first laid my arms around the serpent. Not from its size, no. From what came within. Something within was stirring, pleasant and playful like the flailing wings of a butterfly. A tickle of warmth deep in that hollow. The dancing warmth of a candle's flame. I moaned. It has been so long since I have last felt this. So long. My tears pulled across the surface of the snake's skin. The pain is gone. Good. God, there's relief. There's relief in this world. I drank it in to rectify the years I have been without this nectar. Why now? Why of all times now, why I am too far gone do you show yourself?
You had need of me, Ben. I do not concern myself with those who have hope.
But this cannot last. I would have to remove myself eventually. Please stay. Please stay with me.
You are as close to me as possible, Ben.
No, this is only a spark, only a candle wick of what I am owed. There must be a way to get
closer.
Mm-hmm. Is it going to eat you? Is this vore? Yes. With that I could, I would swallow you whole, and you and I would forever be united. The bear only had but a taste of the fox, only a flavor of his person. I need more. I need someone who cannot be separated from me. I need someone to devour, someone to digest to their bones till every last shred of meat is indistinguishable from mine. I need to be vored. But then, where would they start? Would I be alone again?
Then you devour more and more, until you are not but a core sin together.
Are you hungry too? May I? I understand.
Then I welcome you, Ben.
I knew we were gonna get bored. I'm in awe. Damn, he's smiling. He is happy. It was dark and my breath was heavy. It was even more human than that of the jungle. Oh, Borneo. If only it could have been. If only. But it was better this way. I was full. I had never been more engorged in my life. I wrapped my hooves around the bend of my belly and smiled, knowing it filled. The fluids of the snake's guts slathered me in a warm cocoon. They tingled, even stung a bit, but I knew that to just be a part of its process. First, it loosened the fur and sizzled at the surface of my skin. But as it ate more, I felt the bite of acid slither into my body cavities and highways of veins. My breath drew labor with the collapse of my lungs and the freight of my trachea. The insides had reached bone and ate their way to the marrow, liquefying the platelets and adipose tissue. And yet I could not help but smile, even as my lips withered away. I am becoming. Ego, super ego. The once closed interpay now open to that of others. The thoughts and sensations of the snake. The rolling smoothness of its scales. The weight of itself laying in the mud of the bog. No, it was not only the snake. It was as it described, a chorus. There were voices layered among voices. Thoughts layered among thoughts. My strands of consciousness thoughts shot outwards like billions of hyphae and entwined themselves with that of the melody. One pathway, the lattice work of countless chloroplasts in the leaf of a small shrub. Another, the writhing of an insect's appendages lost to the mucilage of a sundew. Not only life, but the foundation of Darlington itself. The girders, the rivers, the windows, the columns. Time swirled among the oceans of sensations. Minutes, hours, even days coalesced together in a fine streak. Before the last of my motor neurons had dissolved, my now amorphous shaped loosed one found grasp of individuality, and with it, a final thought shooting through my synapses. I am not alone! We just got vored, y'all. What the fuck? And it's fatal vore, mind you. Damn. Martini Dog, you ate with a sword, Jesus Christ. Love this. This was really interesting. That was, to be fair, with the name like Nepenthes, I really thought these plants were coming to play for the climax, but no. I didn't expect vore to come into play here. But I mean, I should assume that would be the case considering vore is like when you love someone so much you wish to crave them, you wish to consume them, to be closer to them. So he finally feels that love that he hadn't felt in so long. He just needed to be digested in order for it to be fulfilling. That's so strange. But this was an interesting read. It took a bit longer than I thought it would, but I'm okay with that. In the meantime, thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, and subscribe if you're really interested. I'll leave a link to the visual novel in the description below if you want to go play for yourself, as well as my links to my Blue Sky if you want to go support me on that platform. And as always, I'll be leaving a link to the visual novel me and my good friend Zid the Red Panda made for the Furry Game Jam called When You're Mine. Please do show your support to it, and if you do enjoy it, maybe consider rating it and commenting on it on itchio. We love reading those, it makes our day. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!